Okay. Now, in today's class, we'll be going for asset classification. So, every non-banking financial company shall, after taking into account the degree of well-defined credit weakness and extent of dependence on collateral securities for realization, classify its lease, hire purchase assets, loans and advances, and any other forms of credit into the following classes, namely standard assets. Simple words we can say, simple words I can say a standard asset is something which is interest and principal. Principal payment are regular. Interest and principal payment are regular. Substandard assets. Doubtful assets, loss assets. They are not NPA. The same thing we have learned in banking. So, for your reference, I have written this NPA interest, principal, outstanding for more than more than 6 months. So, simple words, standard assets, interest and principal payment are regular. Substandard assets, doubtful assets, loss assets. I think this is important from the problem point of view. That's it. Theory part you can easily write. Substandard asset, NPA interest principal outstanding for more than 6 months. Doubtful assets are loss assets. They are called as NPA. Standard asset, the asset in respect of which no default in repayment of principal or payment of interest, which does not disclose any problem or carry more than normal risk attached to business. The same logic we have done in learned in bank account. Same thing. As per non-banking, systematically important non-deposit taking company, deposit take company. Substandard means asset which has been classified as non-performing asset for a period of not exceeding 14 months for the financial year. An asset where the terms and agreement regarding interest or principal have been renegotiated or rescheduled or restructured after commencement of operation until the expiry of 1 year or satisfactory performance under the renegotiated or rescheduled or restructured terms. Simple words, an asset which has been classified for a period of not exceeding 4 months, 14 months is substandard. Not exceeding 14 months in for the financial year 31st March 17. And where an asset, the terms of agreement regarding interest or principal have been renegotiated again when there is a default or interest and principal is renegotiated, rescheduled. Simple words, reschedule means suppose loan is being rescheduled due to coronavirus, like 6 months extension. So we can say reschedule or restructured after commencement of operation until expiry of 1 year of satisfactory performance under the renegotiated or rescheduled or restructured terms. So is also called as substandard asset. For the existing loans, a one-time adjustment of the repayment schedule which shall not amount to restructuring will however be permitted. The above 14 months criteria for classification of substandard asset is still financially ending 31st March 17. However, future for all loans and hire purchase and lease assets, substandard asset would mean an asset that has been classified as NPA for a period of not exceeding 12 months. Okay. However, as per non-banking financial, that means from 31st March 18 onwards, it is not 14 months. How many months we shall take? 12 months. However, as per non-banking financial company, non-systematically important, non-deposit taking company, Reserve Bank direction, substandard asset shall mean an asset has been classified as non-performing asset for a period of not exceeding 18 months. An asset where the terms and agreements regarding interest or principal have been renegotiated, rescheduled after commencement of operation until the expiry of 1 year. I think the same points have been repeated. Okay, whatever we have learned. Okay, is this clear? 18 months he has given. An asset which has been classified non-performing asset for a period of not exceeding 18 months. The same thing we have discussed now here. 14 months for the financial year ending 31st March 17. But this is as per 2016 is how many months has been given? 18 months. So ignore it. Doubtful asset. As per non-banking financial company, systematically important non-deposit taking company and deposit taking company Reserve Bank directions, doubtful assets means a term loan, lease asset, hire purchase asset or any other asset which remains a substandard asset for a period of exceeding 14 months for the financial year ended 31st March 2017. Okay, doubtful asset means a term loan, a lease asset, hire purchase asset or any other asset which remains substandard for a period of exceeding 14 months for the financial year ended 31st March 17 is called as doubtful asset. The above 14 months crisis for classification doubtful asset is still the financial year ending 31st March 17, but from 31st March 18 onwards it is 12 months. Okay. Then next, this is I think 2016 is not relevant for us. Loss asset. See, this has been given. As per non-banking financial company, non-systematically important, non-depositing company, doubtful asset shall mean a term loan, lease asset, hire purchase asset or any other asset, substandard asset for a period of exceeding 18 months. You can see the difference here. Systematically important non-deposit taking company. Here non-systematically important. I think that difference you can see. Here systematically important non-deposit company. This is 14 months for the financial 31st March 17. However, in future, future for all loan would mean an asset that has remained substandard for exceeding 12 months for the financial year ending 31st March 18. Here it is how many months? 14 months. This is 31st March 17. This is 12 months. Financial year ending 31st March 18. And what is the company? Systematically a systematically important non-deposit. This is. Now, if you look at it, however, as per non-banking financial company, non-systematically important non-deposit taking company Reserve Bank direction 2016. Doubtful asset. Period asset for a period exceeding 18 months. Remains substandard asset, it is called as doubtful assets. If it is substandard asset for exceeding 18 months, is called as, come on, tell me, doubtful asset. I think similarly here also we can see, we have slipped a point here. Systematically important so systematically important SI non-deposit company. NBFC, this is rule. Now, here also again 14 months classification. However, in future 14 months criteria for classification of substandard asset 31st March 17. However, in future, how many months tell me? 12 months. 31st March 18 thereafter. I think at present what is the number of months we are having? 12 months. Up to 17, 14 months. Okay, is this clear to all of you? Substandard asset. An asset which has been classified as non-performing asset. Not exceeding 14 months. But here up to 31st March 17. From 2018 onwards, 12 months. Then, non-systematically important, non-deposit. This is systematically important. Here, non-systematically non-deposit taking company. An asset which has been classified as non-performing asset for a period not exceeding 18 months. Is this clear? Then, doubtful assets we have seen. Loss asset. An asset which has been identified as a loss asset by NBFCs or internal or external auditor or by Reserve Bank of India during inspection of the NBFC to the extent is not written off by NBFC, an asset which has adversely affected the potential threat of non-recoverability due to either erosion in the value of security or non-availability of security or due to fraudulent act or omission on the part of the borrower is called as loss asset. The class of assets referred to the above shall not be upgraded merely as a result of rescheduling unless it is satisfied the condition required for the upgradation. That means just simply rescheduling, you cannot convert loss asset into substandard or substandard asset into standard asset. Is this clear? Next. So we have seen the meaning of today's class. What is standard asset, substandard asset, doubtful asset, loss asset. This is general meaning. NPA, interest principal outstanding for more than 6 months, we can be treating as a non-performing asset. Okay. Now coming back to this non-performing asset, we already learned about the non-performing asset. Now this is whatever I have explained there. It implies that as per non-banking financial company, non-systematically non-deposit taking company direction, the criteria is 6 months only. Is this clear? As per non-banking, systematically important non-deposit taking company. Here. Systematically important non-deposit taking company A to F is given. A to F means here an asset in respect which interest has remained overdue for a period of 6 months, a term loan for 6 months, and demand on call loan 6 months, a bill which remains 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. I already given the there 6 months NPA. You know there what is that? NPA for principal and interest outstanding for more than 6 months. I think no need to worry about those things. 6 months is a non-performing asset now. So 6 months. A to F is 4 months for the financial 31st March 17. From next year onwards 3 months. That means they are going to reduce it up to 16, 6 months. A to F, 17, 4 months. 18 onwards, 3 months. That means generally I have given there is 6 months. But I think Reserve Bank of India direction 2016, the financial year ending is 4 months. And financial 31st March 18, excuse me, is 3 months, will be 3 months. Now, you may be having confusion or in the materials or why these three things have been given to update. Sometimes we have seen the problem, they are asking 16, 17, etc. Okay, next. Then, non-banking financial, non-systematically important, non-deposit take company, direction 2016, criteria is how many months? 6 months. Non-banking, non-systematically. Non-systematically, non-deposit. What is the criteria? Tell me. 6 months. Okay. Now, the above 12 months criteria, asset covered under G 6 months for the financial 31st March 16, and for next year ending, it will be 3 months. Okay, I think we work out the problem. No need to worry about it. I think just you need to go through it. That's it. Provisions requirement. Every NBFC shall, after taking into account the time lag between the account becoming non-performing, its recognition as such, the realization of security and the erosion over time in the value of security charge, make provision against substandard asset, doubtful assets and loss asset are provided as under. See, my dear friends, why I am curtailing my discussion is that, like, it is a recapitulation of what we have learned in bank accounts, only applying the provisions of NBFC. That's it. RBA. The logic of standard assets, substandard assets, doubtful assets, loss assets remain same. In the problem point of view, how the way we have done the same models we are expecting here, only you should remember it. Since it is there in the material, just I am explaining. It doesn't mean that you will be thorough with all those things. The theory stuff I need to tell you, I need to explain you. So it's just it's a dry topic actually. You no need for there's nothing new for us to learn more than what we have learned in bank accounts. But having said, we are looking at the provisions part now. Simple words. Now, loans and advance and other credit facility including bills purchase discounted. Provision requirements for this is first is for A. What is that? Tell me. Loans. NBFC have given loans or advance loans. Other credit facilities including bills purchased and discounted. Okay. Loss assets. Entire assets shall be written off if assets are permitted to remain books for any reason. 100% outstanding should be provided. Provision is how much? 100% for loss asset. 100% provision to the extent to which the advance is not covered by realizable value of the security which NBFC has a valid recourse shall be made. The realizable value is to be estimated on a realistic basis. Doubtful assets, advance is not covered by realizable value. Doubtful assets we shall provide 100%. In addition to item A above, depending upon the period for which the asset has remained doubtful, provision to the extent of 20% to 50%, the secured portion, the estimated, you recollect yourself, all those things were discussed in bank accounts. Estimated realizable value of the outstanding shall be made on the following basis. Period for which the asset has been considered up to 1 year 20%, 1 to 3 years 30%, more than 3 years 50%. This is on secured portion. This is on secured portion. Here advance not covered by realizable value of security. That means by selling the security, the realizable value is not covering. Then how much we shall create? 100%. For secured portion, up to 1 year, this is what you should remember examination problems. 3 years, more than 3 years. Is this clear? Then, substandard asset. A general provision of 10% of total outstanding shall be made. Standard asset. A general provision of 0.35%. But it has been increased to how much? 0.4% from 18. For every problem, we are having that change in that data. As per non-banking financial company, non-systematically important. This is here systematically important non-deposit. Here non-systematically important non-deposit. So for this is what is the percentage? Tell me. 0.25%. Here what is the percentage? (2017) 0.4% from 2018. Is this clear? Systematically important non-deposit 0.35%, non-deposit 0.4% from 2018. Non-systematically important, we got only one thing, 2016 rule 0.25%. Okay. Lease next. He is saying that the provisions on standard should not be reckoned for arriving net PS. The provision towards standard assets not be netted from the gross but shown separate contingent provisions against standard assets in the balance sheet. The same thing we have learned there, schedule 5 in bank accounts, you recollect yourself. So my dear friend, this topic we are not discussing financial statement of NBFC. Problems are only two things: minimum own fund, net own fund, minimum own fund, provision on standard, substandard, loss, doubtful asset. That's only two areas. Next, we have seen already loans and advances provision. Is this clear? Provision requirement, loans and advances and other credit facilities, including bills purchased and discounted. Now we are seeing here lease and hire purchase assets. The provisioning requirements in respect of hire purchase lease assets shall be as under. Hire purchase assets. In respect of hire purchase assets, the total dues, overdue and future installment as reduced by finance charges. Finance charges are nothing but interest hire purchase alert not credited to P&L account and carried forward as unmatured financing charges. Depreciated value of underlying asset shall be provided first. The depreciated value of asset shall be notionally computed as the original cost of the asset to be reduced by depreciation rate of 20% per annum on a straight line method. Is this clear? On hire purchase assets, what is depreciation? You shall calculate 20%. In case of second-hand asset, original cost shall be actual cost incurred for acquisition of such second-hand asset. Original cost will be considered. Additional provision for hire purchase on lease assets. Additional provision on hire purchase. In respect of hire purchase lease assets, additional provision should be made as under. Where hire charges or lease rentals are overdue up to 12 months, nil. Where hire charges or lease rentals are overdue for 12 months, up to 24 months, 10% of the net book value. Where hire charges or lease rentals are overdue for more than 24 months and 36 months, 40% of the net book value of asset shall be provided as a provision. I think this is basing upon this particular point, we are having an examination question. Okay, this is important. I think practice question 2 will clarify doubt on this. Okay. Then, where hire charges or lease rentals are overdue for more than 36 months, 70%. Where hire charges or lease rentals are overdue for 100% of the net book value shall be provided. On expiry of period of 12 months after the date of the last installment, entire net book value shall be fully provided for. Okay. On expiry of a period of 12 months after due date, after due date 12 months, on expired period of 12 months after the due date of the last installment. Suppose last installment 31st March 18, 31st March 19. The entire net book value shall be fully provided for and complete provision is to be created. What is net book value means? In case of hire purchase, aggregate of overdue and future installment receivable as reduced by the balance of unmatured finance charges and further reduced by provision made as per paragraph 9.21 directions. In case of leased assets, aggregate of capital portion of overdue lease rentals, accounted receivables and depreciate book value of lease asset, adjust by balance lease adjustment account. Simple words, after depreciation, what are the value you are getting, that is net book value, on that you should calculate that particular portion. Now, capital adequacy ratio is same like bank accounts. We are not discussing about that. Just I will be giving you an important point. NBFC ND with asset size less than 500 crore are exempted from maintenance of capital adequacy ratio, capital risk adjusted ratio. Non-banking finance company non-deposit with asset size less than 500 crores, which is not applicable. CRA are not applicable. What is CRAR? Capital risk adjusted ratio. Leverage ratio of 7 is being introduced for all such NBFCs non-deposit to link their assets growth with the capital they hold. Leverage ratio is equal to total outside liabilities by owned funds, and you should get minimum of how much? 7%. Okay, I think this is we don't have any problems on this. The reason is that the capital adequacy ratio, offshore items, on the balance sheet items, whatever you have learned there, tier 1 capital, tier 2 capital. Of course, your tier 1, tier 2 is different. The logic is same. It is not problems. All problems are not been based on this. So that is why we are only having a theory part on this, right? So I think you might have seen by this time 95% of the subject is theory part. So when we do problems, we will be having clarity. Okay. So let me start with first question. Templeton Finance Limited is a non-banking finance company. The extracts of its balance sheet are given below. Paid up equity share capital 100, that is 100 lakhs or 1 lakh. Free reserves, I think in thousands has been given. So 1000 means it's a 10 lakh, 1 lakh. Free reserves 5 lakhs, loans 4 lakhs, deposits 4 lakhs, leased out assets 8 lakhs, investment in shares in subsidiaries and group companies 100. In debentures of subsidiaries and group companies 100. Cash and bank balance 200, deferred revenue expense 200. You are required to compute the net owned funds. You are required to compute the net owned funds of Templeton Finance Limited as per non-banking financial company, systematically important non-deposit take company, and deposit take company Reserve Bank directions 2016. So they are asking about calculate net own fund. I have told you already. We have learned own fund. How we get own net own fund? Owned fund minus investment in shares of subsidiaries, companies in same group, or other NBFCs, minus book value of debentures, bonds, outstanding loans and advances made to and deposited subsidiaries and companies in the same group. That we have learned. But then first of all, we should also learn what is own funds. This I have already explained you in the first session of NBFC. Own fund, equity capital, preference shares which are compulsory convertible into equity shares, free reserves, balance in share premium account, capital reserves, minus accumulated loss balance, book value of intangible assets, deferred revenue expenditure. I think you recollect yourself here. What is that we need? equity capital plus preference shares which are compulsory convertible into equity shares. This I all told you. And then free reserves plus balance in share premium account plus capital reserves. Everything I've given. Just again to recollect yourself, instead of going back, I'm writing. Preference shares compulsory convertible into equity shares. Convertible to equity shares. Okay. And from this minus accumulated losses then minus book value of intangible assets minus deferred revenue expenditure. You are getting own fund. Equity capital, preference shares, convertible to equity shares, compulsory free reserves, balance in share premium, capital reserve minus accumulated losses, and book value of intangible assets. Okay, I think we had discussion on this. Okay, can you tell me once again? Equity share capital plus preference share capital compulsory convertible into equity shares, free reserves, share premium, capital reserve minus accumulated losses minus book value of intangible assets minus deferred revenue expense. Repeat once again. Equity share capital plus preference share capital compulsory convertible into equity shares plus free reserves plus security premium plus capital reserve plus minus accumulated losses. Then come on, tell me. Deferred book value of intangible assets and deferred revenue expenditure. Is this clear? Okay, my dear friends. Then next one. So you are required to now we can see what is own fund here. Paid up equity capital plus free reserve. This will become, we can write here, own funds. We are having only two here because balance sheet you can see paid capital, free reserves. Is this clear? Next, deferred revenue expenditure. We are having how much? 200. So this is what is called as owned funds minus deferred revenue expenditure. Sorry, this is. Sorry. Okay, this is own funds. From this, we shall deduct investment in shares of subsidiaries. In investment in shares of subsidiaries and group companies, 100 as given, and then in debentures of subsidiaries of group companies, 100. Okay. The last point, to the extent fund such sum exceed 10% of owned fund. What is 10% of owned fund? Excess of investment over 10% of A. 10% of owned fund. That is here 10% of A, how you are getting? 400 into 40 you are getting. Excess of investment over 10% of A is nothing but after deducting investments, that is 200 we are having, minus 40, then this will be called as excess of investment over investment fund. If you look at the formula, own fund minus investment in shares is completed, subsidies, this is completed. Book value of debentures, bonds outstanding and advances made to end deposit subsidiary companies in the same group, this is also completed. Then to the extent fund such sum exceed 10% of owned fund, 40. So 200 minus 40 we are having how much? 160. Now net owned fund is equal to owned fund minus 160. Simple words, what is that you have deducted? Investment in shares subsidiaries, in debentures of subsidiary companies, 10% of excess of own fund, that's it. 10% of excess of own funds. What is that, my dear friend? 40. Okay, so how you are getting? 400 minus 160. It is coming to 240 is net worth. You can see the problem in the meanwhile. Just I am giving time for you to have a look at it. It means, I repeat once again, you deduct investments, shares of subsidiaries in group companies, debentures you deduct, 10% shall be deducted from these amounts. Then you will be getting 160. Okay. So 400 minus 160. It means 10% of A, 10% of own funds shall be deducted from investment in shares of subsidiaries and 10% in debentures of subsidiary and group companies. Then we will be getting net own funds. Is this clear? Simple words, excess of investment over 10% of owned funds. Excess of investment over 10% of owned funds is how much? 200 minus 40. That means here the last point, to the extent funds at sum exceed 10% of own funds. The investment is exceeding 10% of own fund, that is to be subtracted from own fund to get net own fund. Got it? I repeat once again. After getting the investment in shares in subsidiaries and group companies, in debentures of subsidiaries and group companies, it is coming to 200. 10% of own fund shall be deducted from investment, and that amount after deducting the surplus, excess of investment over 10%, that amount is to be subtracted from own fund, then you will be getting net own fund. This simple problem you can easily score in the examination. Second, Bright Finance Limited is a non-banking financial company. It provides you with the following information regarding its outstanding amount 200 lakhs, of which installments are overdue 200 an account for last 2 months, amount overdue 40 lakhs, 200 accounts for last 2 months, amount overdue 40 months. You understand? Overdue for last 2 months here. Overdue for last 2 months. Then on 10 accounts, more than 30 months, overdue 2 lakhs. 4 accounts more than 3 years, 20 lakhs. Identified as substandard asset. And one account 10 lakhs which has been identified as non-recoverable by the management. Out of 10 accounts overdue for more than 30 months, 6 accounts has already been identified as substandard amount of 6 lakhs for more than 14 months, and other are identified as substandard asset for a period of less than 14 months. Classifies as asset of the company in line with non-banking financial company, systematically important, non-deposit take company, and deposit take company. Reserve Bank of India, Direction 2016. Simple words. You read the problem before I start doing it once again. Okay, I think you might have seen this problem. Before I take you into this, let me explain one by one. 200 lakhs of which installments are overdue on 200 accounts for last 2 months. Before I go to that, quickly recap the rules we have learned. This is actually the problem he is talking about. Non-deposit taking company, classified assets of the company, non-banking financial systematically important, non-deposit taking company, non-deposit taking company, and also deposit taking company. We have learned that in substandard rules. Okay, the rule says that substandard simple rule, substandard not exceeding 14 months. Substandard asset not exceeding 14 months. Okay, if it is, this is for what? Depository company, Reserve Bank of India direction. Systematically important non-deposit company and deposit. This is applicable for systematically important non-deposit and deposit taking company. I am talking about rules of which one? Substandard asset not exceeding 14 months. Suppose if it is non-systematic, non-deposit, it is how many months? 18 months. Simple words. Substandard. Next, doubtful. Doubtful assets. Same. Exceeding 14 months. Exceeding 14 months. Here, exceeding how many months? 18 months. Clear to all of you? Loss asset. Loss asset. Anything which is more than that is a loss asset. Is this clear? Asset which has identified loss asset by of internal external effect or by the Reserve Bank during inspection of the to the extent not written off by NBFC. Remaining are loss assets. Okay. Now we see the problem here. What is asking? This is to be identified as management as a loss asset. Standard assets. Let us see. First case. 2 months. 2 months is not coming under which category? Actually, we are doing problem of this, not this one. This is for comparison. I have explained you. For the time being, it is not required. Is this clear? Right. So 200 lakhs, 40 lakhs is overdue for last 2 months. 24 accounts for 3 months overdue for 3 months. 24 lakhs. So 40 plus 24. Still we can take as a standard asset now, because not exceeding 14 months, which is due for less than 14 months. I think you can see here. Standard asset. 200 accounts overdue for a period of 2 months. 24 accounts overdue for a period of 3 months. Okay. $200 lakhs of which overdue 200 accounts are for last 2 months. Amount overdue for 40 lakhs. Okay, we have seen the second problem, not exceeding 4 months, 14 months, etc. Now, in this problem, what happened actually, what they have given, 200 lakhs of which installments are overdue on 200 accounts for last 2 months. Amount overdue 40 lakhs. Out of 200 lakhs, last 2 months amount overdue is 40 lakhs. On 24 accounts for 3 months, amount overdue is 24 lakhs. So I think 40 and 24, it is clear to you. 200 account overdue for a period of 2 months, 24 account overdue for a period of 3 months. Is this clear? Then from where we got 86, I'll tell you. Wait for a while. Then we got doubtful assets, substandard asset, doubtful assets, and loss assets. Now if you look at this, for more than 30 months, on 10 accounts for more than 30 months, amount overdue 20 lakhs, and on 4 accounts for more than 3 years, amount overdue 24 lakhs. This is for more than 30 months. And this is for more than 3 years, amount overdue 20 lakhs, already identified as a substandard assets, and one account 10 lakhs which has been identified as non-recoverable. That means we are having 20 plus 20 plus 10, total 50 lakhs. Then what happened? This 10 accounts for more than 30 months, amount overdue 20 lakhs, and on 4 accounts for more than 3 years, 20 lakhs already identified as substandard assets. Now this 20 lakhs is doubtful, no? Because more than 30 months doubtful. But this 20 lakhs earlier they have identified as substandard, and this is 10 lakhs is loss. So two things are clear. Which is clear? 4 accounts identified substandard for a period of more than 3 years, 20, clear. 1 account identified management as a loss asset, 10 is clear. The 6th account as identified as substandard for a period of more than 14 months. How, sir? We can see here. Out of 10 accounts overdue for more than 30 months, out of 10 accounts overdue for more than 30 months, 6 accounts are already identified as substandard. Is this clear? So you can see 30 months amount due 20 lakhs, no? 20 lakhs. Now 20 lakhs what they are doing? 20 lakhs what they are doing? 10 accounts overdue for more than 30 months, 6 accounts already identified substandard amount to 6 lakhs for more than 14 months. That means 20 lakhs, 30 months accounts is what is the amount you are having? 20 lakhs. Out of 20 lakhs, he is saying that 6 lakhs is for more than 14 months. That means remaining 20 minus 6, 14 lakhs is less than 14 months. Less than 14 months. Less than 14 months will go to where? Tell me, substandard, no? 4 accounts identify substandard asset for a period of less than 14 months. I've already given the rule substandard asset not exceeding 14 months. This is substandard. Now, this is 30 months out of 30 months. 4 accounts are less than 14 months. And this is 6 accounts identify substandard for a period of more than 14. How we got 14 plus 6? 14 plus 6 is coming to 20. Remaining 4 accounts identified substandard for a period of more than 3 years. Loss assets is how much? 10. Now 150, 40 plus 24, take the calculator, you will get it. 40 plus 24 plus 14 plus 6 plus 20 plus 10. You are getting 114. So then remaining out of 200 total assets, we got 114. Now this 86 is the balancing figure. Since no information, we are assuming as a standard asset. I will explain once again about this third point, my dear friends. You listen to me. Listen to me. 200 accounts for last 2 months. This is clear. Amount overdue. On 10 accounts for more than 30 months, amount overdue 20 lakhs. Okay. And then here he has given out of 10 accounts overdue for more than 30 months, 6 accounts already identified substandard, amount 6 lakhs. For more than 14 months, more than 14 months means doubtful. Others are identified as less for a period of less than 6 months. So 20 lakhs, 6 lakhs is doubtful, 14 lakhs comes under substandard asset. Clear to all of you? Got the clarity? See, 30 months, more than 30 months, 6 accounts are already identified as substandard, 6 lakhs for more than 14 months. 6 lakhs for more than 14 months will be taken as doubtful asset. No? The 30 months, overdue for 30 months amount is how much? 20 lakhs. Out of 20 lakhs, 6 lakhs is more than 14 months. And other identified substandard asset for a period of less than 14 months. Substandard more than 14 months is doubtful. Substandard less than 14 months is a substandard asset only. Is this clear? And this is 86 lakhs is balancing figure. Now we got one more problem. While closing the books of account on 31st March 2017, a non-banking finance company has its advances classified as follows. Standard asset 16,000, 16.800 lakhs, 1, 340 lakhs, up to 1 year 320, 1 year to 3 years. This is 16,800 lakhs, 1,340 lakhs, up to 1 year 320 lakhs, 1 year to 3 years, 90 lakhs, more than 3 years. Unsecured portion of doubtful asset 97, loss assets 48. Calculate the amount of provision which must be made against advances as per non-banking financial company, non-systematically important and non-depositing company Reserve Bank Directions 2016 and non-banking financial company systematically important non-depositing company. So what I do, my dear friends, I'm working out before I explain this. You should be thorough with the rules. So third and illustration 2, these two I would like to take up in the next class. So you before come to the class, just have a look at this illustration 3. Okay, then coming back to the next one is question number 2. Okay, and these things we'll discuss in the next class because you need some time for you to revise and go through it. With this, we will complete the session in the next class, NBFC. Right? Got it? Okay, you can just go through the rules and regulations once again, the legal provisions, etc. We discuss in the next class. Thank you. ఆపేసేయాలరా